Hello and welcome back to System Center Central, mynexttech.com. Today we're going to be talking about patch management and what you need to know about patch management. I'm also going to be I'm going to do a demo on how to determine which machines need patch management and how to determine the reports you need to run, the WSUS component, as well as the SCCM update service component, and how you get all of those to synchronize. So I don't know if I'm going to do this all in one segment or if I'm going to do this in two video demo. But anyway, so let's get started. Hello and welcome back. We are going to talk about WSUS and what we need to do to get those updates out there in your environment. So right now, I don't know why whenever I do this, it seems to minimize all my VMs when I launch the Cam Studio. Anyway, so here we are. I've built a server already, 2012 R2 server. You want to go with the R2, it has more features available. And also I've installed some components like IIS. I've also installed, some prerequisites. So some of the roles and features you'll need to install to turn this into a WSUS server. So you need .NET. You don't need bits or anything. You just need WSUS. You just need to add the IIS, and then you just need the WSUS server, which is listed. I may just go to remove components because that'll probably explain what's installed. So anyways, basically you just need the web server, IIS, and you just need Windows Server Update Service. You just need these two primary things to turn this into a WSUS server. So once these two things are installed, you're going to want to restart, obviously, and then you'll have your WSUS server running. And then what you want to do is you want to go ahead and launch your WSUS console. Now this is using Service Pack, this is using version 3 of your WSUS. So I've already gone ahead and configured everything. The first thing you want to do is do all your post configuration, which I've done already for the sake of time for this video because there's a lot to go over and a lot to cover. So the last time I synchronized this server, you can set this up to do this manually, but I'm just doing it automatically. But I'm just doing this manually for for demo purposes. So basically, you got your WSUS server that talks about the updates you need. Now you don't need to approve any of these updates on the update server because that's all being done through SCCM. So I'm just going to go ahead and synchronize now, and it'll basically go out to the Microsoft Updates catalog and download all of the updates. And then also you want to make sure that when you go into options, you go into product and classifications. And here right now it's synchronizing, so I can't really change anything. So we'll just wait for that to finish. So it'll take a little bit of time. So I'm going to pause this video for right now, so we can continue. I don't think you want to wait for that. Give it 1 second. Oh, well, it's already done. So here we go. I guess it didn't take that long. So there's not a whole lot that, once you do the initial download, it will take some time. But after that, it doesn't take as long. So you want to make sure you go into product and classification. And then you want to select those things you want. So right now, I just did all the basic stuff. So otherwise, the more stuff you select here, the more space is required. So for products, I just selected... No, I didn't bother with the Office stuff because I don't really have any Office on any of my VMs. I didn't really select any of the SQL stuff. I could have, but I figured I would just handle those manually for now. And as far as for System Center, they don't have SCCM listed here. It's just Operation Manager and Virtual Manager. So you can actually manage those components if you wanted to, if you have those in your environments. So basically I just added some operating systems like Windows 7, 8.1, you know, just a few things. And then I did 2012 actually. Let me just add that. I don't have 2012. I have R2. I don't have 2016, and I do have 10. I don't have any XP in my environment. It's not supported anymore. Let me just go do Windows 10. And when you, I'm going to go over like the whole Windows 10 update in a completely separate video, because there's a lot more involved in that in terms of creating those service plans and all that stuff. So now that I've added that other component, I should have done that first. Now I'm going to resynchronize so that I get my 2012 R2 updates downloaded. So let's go ahead and let that run again, synchronize again, so it synchronizes those other components I've added. Once this is done, then we'll go over to SCCM, and then you'll need to make sure that your update service point is configured. So once you build your WSUS server and you do the synchronization, so now that we're done with that, let's see if I can minimize this. I'm not sure why that's not working. Just one moment, please. Okay, so now I'm back over to the SCCM server, and as you can see, I have the console up already. And so as you can see, this hasn't synchronized with the WSUS server because that's the upstream server, and this is the downstream server. So I'm going to go ahead and just synchronize between the two right now so that it will actually synchronize from the WSUS server to this server. So you want to do this next. Now normally you would set this all up automatically, but I didn't want to do it all automatically so you guys can see the different components and how they're connected. So first you update the WSUS server to pull the updates from the internet, and then you come over here to synchronize with the WSUS so they gets all of the updates from the WSUS, and then you'll have to do another step. So I'm going to let this continue download here for synchronize here for a minute, and I'll be right back. Alright, so the synchronization took a little longer than anticipated. So now we're back. The synchronization is done from the WSUS server to the primary site server WSUS. Now you need to have the update service feature enabled, just the console piece. You don't want to configure it. As you can see, when you go to options and you go to project and classification, you see how everything is grayed out for me? That's because this is not the main server here. It's the WSUS servers where you make those changes. This server, that's the WSUS component or console that's installed on the primary site server. It's just that. It's just so you can synchronize between the WSUS to the primary site server. So I just wanted to kind of show you that real quickly. This is, if it looks like this, it means that everything is set up correctly. And so now with that, so let's go ahead and close out of here. I just wanted to show you one more time. Synchronization is done, today's date, and it succeeded, so that's good. So now we can go ahead and launch the Microsoft Center console. It'll take a second to connect to the database. There we go. Alright, so now in the monitoring, you'll see this update synchronization point. Right now it hasn't synchronized since the 9th, which is fine. So we're going to resync with this. Now as you can see, we have a software update point. It's the server that we were just when we downloaded the update, and the synchronization sort is the Microsoft update server. So basically, I know there's a lot of components within Patch Management. So you have your Microsoft update, which is the internet, downloads to the WSUS server, and then from the WSUS server it synchronizes over to the SCCM server. So once all of those components are working and everything is working, as you can see, all of these components are working. So now I can go to the software library, go to software updates, all software updates, and you'll see that I've already done the synchronization already once, but I just did some new changes, and as you can see, you'll see all of the updates are now available in SCCM from the updates from the internet. So here's all of the ones that I selected. 2012. Now I wanted 2012 R2 because I don't have 2012. So I'm going to go ahead and resynchronize because I added some components. So now what I want to do is I want to synchronize the software updates from the WSUS. So now I'm going to do that. So I'm going to say click on that and say yes. Now I'm going to go down back to monitoring and just kind of do a refresh a couple times, and it may take a little bit of to get that going. This is all related to Windows 10, and I'll get into that in another video. Oh, there we go. So now it's going ahead and it's in progress right now. Now this will change to 18. So I'm going to let that go ahead and synchronize, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, as you can see, the synchronization is completed. So we got a green check. We also have the catalog version of 18. Before it was 17, so everything looks good. So now when we go to the update catalog, we'll see all the new updates from today when we did the synchronization. Now you'll notice the required and install. Let me just kind of bring this out a little bit more. And you'll see like some updates that are required, and you know, like this one's required for 8.1, and it'll tell you compliancy. So it's really kind of cool. This little, even though we're not running a report, it's showing us already what systems need updates. Now it doesn't tell you which device or which machine name needs the update, but it's just kind of giving you already an idea of what's needed out there. Now I just have a few machines in my lab, but you'll see a lot more of this. And down here you'll see you know, the update that's required, the bulletin ID, if it's required or not, you know, percent compliant. So basically you want to try to get up to 100% compliant as much as possible. And then if you look down here, it'll say last update, which is, you know, when it was last synchronized. So you'll see this. So as of today, this is what it looks like. So updates are only done once a month. You know, if you're keeping up with the updates, or you're doing this kind of like once every month and stuff, and what have you. So as you can see, you know, this is a lot of stuff. Now I just want to take a look at what's required. So I'm going to go over here and add some criteria. So I'm going to do required. Let's see. Expired. And product. We want to know the product. Superseded. And we're going to add those. Okay, we're going to do one. Expired, no, and we want to just take a look at, so these are all the products that, now I didn't select everything, obviously. I don't have the space for all of the updates. So let's just do Windows 2012, because R2. Let's take a look at those and then do a search. So these are going to tell me all the ones that are pretty much required 2012. These are all the updates that are required. Now, a couple that say are installed, which is fine. Now there's a couple that are saying not required because it's either already installed or what have you. And then the ones that are required. So and that's basically it. So you can basically, from this point, we can take a look at some of these updates. Let's see, this was, it tells you when it was date released. So that was 2016. So now we want to get some updates that are a little bit current. So like this one's 9/9/2014. Not quite the current update. So so we're going to, now like I said, it's just my lab environment, but this kind of gives you an idea of, you know, how to do this. So this is just really the same thing you would normally do in your environment. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and just, for the sake of this, let me just take a look at a couple other things here to see what's required. I want to just do a couple updates. I don't want it to draw this out too much. So okay, so let me add a different criteria. We got required, superseded, expired. We want date release. Let's add date release. Last week, search. All right, so now these are required because I haven't really updated my systems in a while, so you're going to see some older dates. Like this one is current, for the most part current. It's not required, so it's just not reporting that it's required. Alright, so I'm just going to grab a couple update. Let's just do these few right here. Alright, so I'm going to just select, I'm just going to select these security updates. They don't take nearly as long, and these look like they're all required. So I'm going to go ahead and just right click on these selected ones for now, just to show you how to do this. You right click and you go create a software update group. So we're going to go ahead and do that, called Windows R2 updates. You can put today's date if you want to, because we saw. Alright, so we're just going to create that. So now it's going to create this update group. So now what we want to do, so now that we've done that, if you go to packages, you can see I've done this already. There we go. So here's the update group. Now if you double click on this, you'll see all of the updates that are part of this group. So you can actually have different updates, be a part of different groups for different things. So you can have 2012, you have Windows 7, you can have Windows 8, you have different, software update groups, and you can even have different software groups for different departments and what have you. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and download all of these updates. But before we do that, let's go ahead and go to the updates. We're going to call it a new folder called December. Server. So I know these are December server updates. Alright, so we're going to create the folder. So now we're going to go ahead and download this. We're going to download this, so it's going to basically download all of the updates. And we're going to we're going to create a new deployment package. We're going to call it Windows 2012 R2 updates. And we're going to give it that path that we just created. So we'll call it and we'll select that. So there we go. So we're creating a new package. We're doing that. So we're going to go next. Now we're going to go ahead and add a distribution point. So I only have one. It's just a single lab environment. We're going to go ahead and just do that for now. And then I usually like to leave the default for this. This is specify general distribution settings for this package. So I generally just do manually copy. But I'm going to go ahead and just automatically do this for now. Download the updates from the internet, that's fine. We just want English, so we want to make sure that we're only selecting English. And then these are all of the updates that are going to be part of this group. So I'll just go ahead and do next. And then it goes ahead and it starts the process of downloading. So we'll go ahead and let this will take a few minutes to complete. So we'll be right back here in just a few moments. Okay, so welcome back. So now we see that the download of the update wizard was successfully done. As you can see, all the green check marks here all the way down to the bottom, so this is good. So now when you do a refresh, it should say downloaded, which is great. So it hasn't been deployed yet, but it has been downloaded, so that's good. So now what we want to do is next step is to go to the update group. Now what we want to do is deploy these updates now, but before we do that, let's go look at our device collection, because these updates are all related. So we have 2012 server collection, and I see that we have some servers in here that don't have the SCCM agent, so those will always be unknown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this collection. They say they also has to have membership rules. Now it's a query-based collection, but I'm going to add something to this so that only machines that are in here, also 2012 R2, but they also have the agent. So I'll go to criteria. So right now it just has the operating system is equal to 6.3, which is the Windows 2012 R2. So now I'm going to go ahead and create another criteria. I'm going to go ahead and select. I'm going to go ahead and select remote system resource. And then I'm going to go client is equal to 1, that means it has to be a system resource client is equal to 1, meaning it has the client installed. And you go ahead and go OK, click on OK, click on OK, and then click on OK. So now what we're going to do is we're going to update this membership. And we're going to go refresh. Now you see 3. So now I have a collection with Windows 2012 R2 servers that have the client installed, as you can show by the check mark here, and they're all active. So this is my domain controllers, my WSUS, and I mean that's my SCCM server, and that's my WSUS. So I've got 3 servers here. So now we are ready to deploy to this collection because they're all basically 2012 updates. So now we can go back over here. We're going to go to our update group, and remember we got this package that's associated with this. So here's the package. So now we're going to distribute this package, which we already did. So we're going to head to look at our distribution points, make sure that this package is in there. So I'm going to go back over to right here, and as you can see, there's the distribution point, and there's content, and as you can see, that package is now a part of this distribution point. That's how you can check. So now I don't really need to redistribute that package. It's already there. So I just confirm that. So so now we go back over to here. We'll go in here. Now we've already distributed the content. So now we can go ahead and deploy this. So now we go over to update groups. We're going to go ahead now and deploy this to that collection. So we're going to click on deploy. And then we can kind of give it whatever name you want to call it. So I'm just going to call it Windows Update, and then leave it that. I'm going to leave it the default. And then I'm going to go ahead and browse to it's going to be a device collection. I'm going to go ahead and select 2012 servers and click on OK. Next, and then it's going to be required. Now I can make it available. I think for servers I'd rather make it available so I can kind of go into Software Center, and go ahead and update those patches manually, which you kind of want to do for servers because you don't want to force it and then have it reboot. So I'm just going to make it available, just so that the administrators can go and update the servers as they need, when they need to get updated. Because servers usually are done after hours or on weekends, just because of the nature of the servers are kind of critical. So I'm just going to make it available. Now in a workstation scenario, you want to do required and you want to force the update, but you can also create these collections to have maintenance windows so that the restarts and the installation doesn't happen. It only happens within that maintenance window. But for here, I'm just going to make it available just because these are servers and I don't want to force the restart. Although you can delay the restart time, you can, so I'll talk a little bit more about that. Maybe I should just do required to show you what that looks like. But yeah, I don't want to restart my servers anytime soon because I'm recording and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to make it available for now. I'm going to do it as soon as possible just so you can see that whole process. And then I wanted to display everything in you can actually hide it. But I'm going to do display and show all notifications so you know what that looks like. And because I'm making it available, if I had chosen required, I could have selected these 2 options, or I could select just this option and not select that one. That would not force the restart. This, and it just notifies them that if you only select this option, it will send a notice that the system needs to be restarted, but it'll give you a window. It'll give you a countdown. So depending on how you set it up, it can be a countdown of an hour and a half. It can be 4 hours and then you'll get a reminder every 4 hours, like, okay, your system needs to restart. But I wanted to make it available just so you can see what that looks like on the other end, on the client side. So I'm going to go ahead and just say next for now, and then next, and then make it like this. If it's this is a default saying I don't want the clients to share, I don't want to do that, use that feature, so I'm going to turn that off. And then we're going to go ahead and do it next. And now it's actually working to create a deployment, and I'll show you what that looks like. And this will take a few minutes, so we'll be right back and just it's already done. All right, so that's done. So now we've got a deployment going on. So you can see right here, this is being deployed to this group. to this collection name, and it's enabled and deployed on, and it gives you a date. So now I'm going to go to monitoring, and here's your deployments. Now here's the 2012 update R2. So when you click on it, so now none of the servers have checked in. So now they're all kind of in an unknown status. So because they haven't checked in yet. So let's go check in the WSUS server, because that one I can go do that. So let's go over to the WSUS. Now what you want to do to force the update to occur, now it'll check in within the hour, so you can just let folks know that like within the hour that system will check in. But if you want to just, you know, I'm going to speed it up a little bit so you can see what happens here. So you go into Config Manager, you go to Options, and you go Machine Policy Retrieval. So run that, and then kind of wait a few seconds here, a few minutes, and something will pop up on the screen. So let me go ahead and get into the Software Center. There it is. Now this may take a few minutes, so let's give it a couple minutes here. Now this is what the Software Center looks like. This is like on the client side. Even though this is a server, this is basically, this server is an SCCM client. So with that being said, it'll say available software, so it may take a couple minutes for it to populate in here. So I'll be right back when that populates. Oh, here we go. So here you go. See, it just showed a message saying new software is now available. Click here. So if you click on here, it'll actually open up the Software Center, which I already done. So this is available software, and you can show all right now. I'm going to just say, even if I do updates, so it'll say type, right? So now I can basically just select everything here and just say install updates. Now this is based on everything I've done. It's saying that all of these updates are required on this machine. So let's just kind of double check that here. Let's go into the control panel, Windows Updates, view update history, and as you can see, you know, it hasn't been updated in a while. So let's just take a look at some of these updates real quick. This is so it's been a while, and so let's see, this is alright, so let's let's go ahead and install these updates. These are mostly .NET. These are mostly .NET updates, and I didn't really see any .NET updates on the let's just check it one more time. Yeah, as you can see, no .NET updates really. Some of them were, but not the only the 3.5 and some of these. Okay, these are the 3.5. Now some of these are for Windows 8.1 and R2 for 64-bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on install selected. Just because these are the ones I went ahead. So you can click on install select. I'm not going to do this right now just because it'll take a lot of time. I want to kind of show you some other things. So you can basically select everything, install right now. It'll actually go through and download and install each one of these at a time. And when it's done, you'll see restart required, and you click on it. Now that's when it'll start the 1.5-hour countdown. So you have up to an 1.5 hours before you need to restart your server. This is why I make it available for servers, because then the administrators can go ahead and install this whenever they can install it, based on whatever schedule they want to do this. So I didn't. So that's basically it. And that's how you get updates out in your environment. Again, there are a couple options that we talked about. Again, if you have any questions about software updates and how to do software updates, I'm going to do Windows 10 in a separate video, because it's a completely new thing with Windows 10 and how to do that. With that being said, eventually, once I refresh, because I did that one server, one of them is in, so not going to see that they're compliant until I finish. So now we have two that's still unknown, and one that hasn't shown any response, because I haven't really clicked on these updates. Now it did say that these were required, so I'm going to go ahead and just do install selected. So now it's going to go ahead and download and install all the updates, and it'll go through that whole process of doing all of this, and then it'll see as it's saying waiting to install, waiting to install. So now it's just going to install them in the order in which they get downloaded and what have you. So if you have any questions about now we got updates going out to one machine, and once this is all done, it'll restart because you need to restart, and then once it's completed, this one machine will be in compliance. So I'll come back to this shortly. Okay, so welcome back. So now we've went ahead and went ahead and selected all the updates to do the install. So you can see some of these have already been installed, some of these requires restarts before I can actually install these other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the system. So I'm just going to click on restart. So yep, I'm just going to restart the system, and then we'll be right back. Okay, and as you can see, I'm now back on the System Center console, and with this Windows 2012 R2 update status, you'll see that the two other machines were already in compliance. One is still in progress. It's just saying pending restart, which has already been restarted. So if you click on the little more detailed here, it'll tell you specifically that, it'll say all of these things are successfully installed. And over time, eventually, when you click on the refresh, it'll eventually move over to the compliance section, and that's basically it. And then it's just a matter of just monitoring the deployments, monitoring the updates, checking out the software library, and see now it says 75% compliant, and you'll see it says one non-compliant because it's still in the process of sending back information that is still in progress. And once you get get pretty much 100% compliant, already know that this is already compliant. Now this is saying non-compliant of another update, but not this in the update part of this group. And again, you just kind of keep going through the list and keep finding more and more updates to deploy to your environment. So that's basically the updates in a nutshell. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving components. And as long as all of those components are working and you're monitoring those things, running your reports, if you go to your reports, all your reports related to updates in terms of they're going to be under software distribution and also like update compliance. So like if you run a overall compliance report, you can run this report, and it'll give you all your reports related to updates will be in here. Like there's my group, and then you can run like all systems, or the 2012 servers, because that was really targeted those machines. And then I can just run a report, and it will give you and these are reports that you can send management. Okay, here's compliant. Here's that one machine that's not compliant, so you can actually send them a report. And again, you can even create subscription reports on that too as well. If you wanted to do that, you can do on a specific update. So all your compliance and all your update reports are all in the update section. There's a lot of reports that you can run here. So I would go ahead and go and check these reports out. Also, all my I have a patch management guide over on my website, so that'll be in the description below. Go ahead and like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks again. Till then, see you later.